Why did nobody tell me how fun Cyclone Slice is? Are you joking me? I am loving this. This is ridiculous. In this video, we're going to cover the Trickster Slice and Dice build, aka the Edge of Time build. It is easily the most fun build in the game. That's not up for debate. The only one that comes even close would be the Technomancer Scrap Grenade build, but that build is criminally underpowered, whereas this setup is a slapper, and you will slice and dice your way through Challenge Tier 15 with no problems whatsoever. Let's discuss the pros and cons of this setup, the skill tree, the skills used, and of course, the gear and the weapons to make this build your best friend. I'm doing a new thing where I save all the fun stuff for the end of the video so that people don't leave and they're stuck here trapped in a prison of average view duration. So if you want to see the deleted intros and stuff, hang out to the end of the video. If not, that's cool. Feel free to subscribe on your way out. Let's jump into the pros and cons of this build. First things first, I have to say that this is unholy fun. I actually can't believe it. I was really looking forward to a broken Twisted Rounds build. I know how powerful they are. The setup I was using on my budget build video, which got no views, was totally pretty tight and really fun to use, but I got into the powerful God rolled shotguns that I have, and I needed a fresh pair of pantalones after that. That is disgusting. The damage output with the Bukaki set with the Ugake set is pretty unreal and incredibly spicy. I was having an absolute blast with it, but I opted into putting it away because I cannot find the Ugake hat, so I figured, what the hell, might as well use the Edge of Time set, and here we are, and wow, do I not regret it, because slicing and dicing is insanely fun. The first time I used that move, I started giggling like a small child. It's just so fun. Bro, you got to throw the shield zap mod on there. It is absolutely not powerful. It does not do a lot of damage. You might get 12 or 15 million damage from an entire Challenge Tier 15 run with shield zap on your armor mod. But it looks so cool, and I prefer to run it over doing more damage because it just the swag. Just look at this. Would you just look at it? Look. It's so cool. The con of this build is that when your teleport hunt the prey is on cooldown, your long range ability to deal with enemies with either weaponry like guns or Strix with their dicks, I mean their butt cannon things, they are a major problem and incredibly frustrating to deal with. Aside from long range issues, you have a lot going for you with this setup. Your sustain is really surprisingly powerful. I actually ended up taking off the mod which grants you bonus armor and damage reduction when you're doing your whirly bob, aka the Cyclone Slice. I was surprised. I didn't really find I needed the damage reduction. You have such great skill leech with the Edge of Time set, and you also have just so much shield coming out because you really are killing things with a quickness at close range. You're pretty tanky. I was really surprised. Another awesome part of this is that you do humongous amounts of damage. Temporal Slice is pumping out huge meaty clackers of damage on big elite alpha brood mothers, whatever you want to talk about, the behemoths, the captains. They get chunked down with the sickness, and the whirly do is a nice holdover move to keep you in your stagger lock phase. That's right, you just stagger lock the shit out of enemies on this setup. You just push that right bumper for me, whatever it is for you, to make your whirly Madoo go whirly bahoo, and you stagger everything, and it's so cool, especially after playing the statue set Devastator, which had 0 stuns, 0 staggers, 0 interrupts. This is the polar opposite of that. You keep things stuck where they are and they cannot go anywhere. It is fantastic. So let's go on to the skill tree and the skills we are using. For the skills, as previously mentioned, we are going to be using Cyclone Slice, Temporal Blade, and Hunt the Prey. Hunt the Prey is going to be our move to close the gap on enemies and set up bonus damage. We also are going to use our melee. If you look at this little handy dandy typed out infographic up here, you see the order of operations. All of the moves are done in an order because they buff our anomaly power. That means by the time we get to our big heavy hitting Temporal Slice, it's going to chunk for a couple million damage. It hits really hard. And then you sort of use your whirly Madoo bahoo how as the move to hold you over. It does really good damage. You'll start to see the damage numbers tick down. For this setup I'm running, it starts at about 250,000 per hit. And that is like DPS. I don't know how quickly it ticks over. It's usually 1,002, maybe 2 seconds. Yeah, I just did that math in my head. And so every 2 seconds, you're doing about 200k. And as your buffs from your melee, from your temporal blade, and from your teleport wear off, you're going to see that dip down into 90, 80k. And as soon as you see it go that low, or even sooner, if your cooldown is faster than mine, I still don't have the shards necessary to get my cooldown gear fully finished because it's a pain in the ass getting cooldown gear points for whatever reason in this dumb game. You want to kick in your teleport, melee, hit the temporal blade, rinse and repeat. It's incredibly fun. All of those stars down there, you're just going to take a look. Those are all the skills that buff our damage and anomaly power. We are going to run resistance piercing, but I will talk about that in a second when we go over our gear. You do have a bonus point that I opted into putting into health. I'm sure you could put that wherever you want. We don't really shoot our guns, so I didn't see that being necessary. And weakness on melee is like, maybe if you're dying, I don't know. I didn't find it helpful, and I don't think running the tier 2 mod, which gives bonus damage to weakness, was worth a shit. So I opted out of that and just went for a little max health. Weaponry, we're going to be using triple moaning winds, but not really. The moaning winds is kind of just like if we have blown through all of our loads as fast as possible and we're kind of sitting there with our thumbs up our bums and our whirly do how modulao is on cooldown, then we want to use moaning winds. The moaning winds damage is good. We do have a lot of anomaly power and resistance piercing, so they can chunk up for just shy of 1 million. It's no devastator. Do not plan on using moaning winds for your primary source of damage, but who the hell wants to do that? That shit's boring as hell. We want to make sure we do have the Anemoy in our main hand because it's armor pierce, which if you look over at our gear, we want armor pierce to buff our no resistance against the fortified because we want resistance pierce, which is going to buff our 2 stacks of unstoppable force, which is going to buff our anomaly power and make us do a ton of damage. The other important stuff to note here is that if you find the Edge of Time chest piece and you're thinking about trying this setup, you got to get rid of that tier 3 mod on there. Sorry, like these chest pieces come out all the time, so you'll probably find another one, but that tier 3 mod is pretty much irrelevant. It's the one that makes it so that you reflect bullets when you are in your Cyclone slice. I don't think it's necessary unless you're specifically focusing on running people-based whatever's expeditions, so Chemplant, Boomtown. Unless you're doing those like every single time, I wouldn't do it. I'd rather take the damage. And if you're doing those ones anyway, you need help with physical damage reduction anyway. And that's when I would swap out either Grand Bastion on the bottom there, as you can see, or Damage Absorber, because your damage resistance when you're not in Cyclone Slice, aka at range, is horrible. Other thing that's important to point out here is that Double Slice is huge. Holy crap, that is a humongous buff. And because the damage buff on that is so sick, you get like basically a free attack with your temporal slice. It just gives you a 50% secondary hit with it. You need to run Slasher. In my opinion, getting that second temporal blade off is just fat. Like I said, meaty chunks on Broodmothers. You can almost two-shot them. You basically hit them with all your buffs, your knives and stuff like that, and then you have your whirly-do, and it kills them in like 2 seconds. So I would absolutely make sure you run Slasher. Unfortunately, it does not spawn on boots or gloves, so you got to put it somewhere, and that's where I decided to put it. Last thing here is for the options. If you look at the tip of the star constellation, the Shields app is one of the prettiest things in this game. It is absolutely worse than running another stack of Unstoppable Force, or conversely, if you wanted to do power assimilation for buffs to your anomaly power when elites are around. Those are the smarter options, but the swag factor, the cool factor, the badassery from Shields app is so pretty. I really enjoy running it, and I'm probably going to keep it on, even though it is absolutely worse than running another stack of Unstoppable Force or power assimilation. This setup really focuses on armor piercing / resistance piercing to make sure that we can really melt Broodmothers, Captains, Behemoths, all the powerful stuff in this game, which is why we make sure we run Captain Hunter, because we really, like, I can't emphasize enough how fast we just delete things that normally want to eat our booty holes like groceries. For the attributes on our purple gears, we want to have anomaly power, cooldown reduction, and then either skills, life leech, or healing received. Either way, you have plenty of skills life leech on your set armor, so some healing received is nice to make it more efficient. If you're going to die, it's because you're getting one shot because you're not in your whirly do how, maloo how, bahoo how. That concludes the information you need to know to get on your merry way into spinning yourself into oblivion and taking out enemies with some sort of weird dance of death, like you're trying to summon rain but in dead body form falling from the skies. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's awesome. It's really fun. It actually really made me enjoy playing this game again. I don't actually play that much, a little burnt out, and I have a lot of real life responsibilities, but this Trickster is pulling me right back into this game. Still looking for that ugake hat because I do want to do the shotgun unlimited twisted rounds teleport everywhere with the knife thing, because that is pretty fun as well. In my opinion, I stand by, the Trickster is the most fun character to play in this game. Probably not the best, but definitely the most fun. I love it, and I'm pretty glad I saved this character for last, because if I had saved the Technomancer for last, I would have already quit this game. That guy sucks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, we out. Bonus. That's a slicey boy. I had to do that. I apologize for your primary source. Primary source. And the final thing before we move on to the actual empirical evidence-based things that are boring as all hell, but I have to include in my build videos, otherwise people won't click them. It's, just watch the Cyclone slice. I've already said this, just watch it go. Just watch. Just watch it happen. Just let it go. Just let it ride and have fun. Be true to yourself. Feel the wind in your hair. I don't have any hair. Okay, anyways, otherwise you're pretty tanky, especially when you're in your whirly do how. You get so many opportunities to just stun lock the hell out of everybody. Plus, you can mosey on over between enemies, and I would slice 5,000 miles, and I would slice 5,000 more. Ba-da-ba, hoo-hoo-hoo, ha-ha-ha, ba-da-ba, hoo-hoo-hoo, ha-ha-ha.
Legend has it he's still slicing to this day. Nobody knows to where he goes, but they know he follows his bros and sniffs their toes.